Hello and good afternoon. It's just what you've been waiting for. Another magic live stream. That's right. There hasn't been enough lately. So here I am. But this is what I do now every Tuesday. Today I'm talking about creativity with lack of resources. And there's many different ways to look at resources. One we have a lot of right now is time. One we do not have a lot of, depending on your situation, is money or supplies. And often, if you're thinking about, or at least if I'm thinking about working on a magic trick, I think, okay, I'll try this and I'll go get this supply and I'll try that, or I'll get this book and research that. And it's not necessarily the right time to be doing that sort of thing. So I'm talking about creativity, using what's in arm's reach. And this came up in an interesting way. This past week or two, I've been in multiple meetings with Lance Burton of a master magician Lance Burton fame. And one of the things that I remember him saying resonated with me was like, oh yeah, I would always look for the solution for whatever he's working on. The solution is what's around me. So like I'd take an old handle of a razor and that would become my silk holder, and I found, that's very relatable to the creative process, using what's around me. So I'm going to show you an example. I'm going to talk about the example. I'm going to talk about a few different things, talking about just taking what's around you. And in the magic industry, which I more and more grow weary of, there's always this push to buy the newest thing, the greatest new trick. You need this new thing. This is going to be the thing that'll make your act. And it's all this hype. And more, I'm forcibly pulling back from that whole mindset, that whole attitude, and becoming a what can I do with what I already have kind of guy. Because I've found in almost every situation, I already have everything I need in magic. Now, on one hand, that's easy for me to say. I've been learning and studying magic now over 20 years. I've read a lot of books. And there once was a time when I needed those books and I had to buy those latest books in order to learn stuff. But now, not so much. Not so much. I've got that resource of knowledge that I've trained up, and I don't need the new stuff anymore because I've got all that stuff within reach, everything I need. Depending on your reach, Steve is saying, I'm finding it difficult to get off the couch. Okay, so your reach is a personal thing. Just how far your reach goes, that's fine. But I've made a few posts and things over the last couple of years, kind of encouraging magicians to be a little bit more resourceful from their own storehouse instead of trying to reach out and buy the answer to all their problems. And as far as books go, there's resources out there. We can get old books. I'm a big fan of the Conjuring, what was it called? The Conjuring Center in New York with their Ask Alexander database. And you have hundreds of thousands of books searchable. And I just dig into that and I get lost. And that's pretty much the only thing I pay for these days, and as far as magic books goes, is just digging into that archive of old stuff. So let's get to it. I wanted to show you a performance clip that happened last Tuesday, a week ago today. And my friend in Vancouver, Rob Teska, asked me to be a part of his parlor magic show, which up until recently was a real live show happening once a month in Vancouver. And I was watching him. He's only been doing it about 4 months, I think. And I was watching and thinking, he's doing cool stuff. I've always appreciated people who are making magic shows happen. And so now, in this time of upheaval, he took it online for the first time. And I was thrilled to be invited to take part. So I'm going to show you a clip of my performance from that show. And this was truly the first time ever performing this trick. And it was something that I came up with, I think, the day before, and I was figuring out like the hour before the show. That's not necessarily the best advice, but that's how I operate. And it's a great example of using what was literally in front of me, within arm's reach, to create some magic. So let's roll the clip. With that, as I said, I wanted to start with something that works every time. And now I'm going to try something that may or may not work. Rob mentioned I do a lot of improv, and you're about to see some of that, because I have a lot of downtime these days, working at home in my studio, coming up with magic tricks, and I'm going to show you a trick that nobody has seen this trick before. And when I say nobody, I mean nobody, because I haven't even done it yet. But tonight we're going to try that. Are you on board with this? It's a grand experiment. This whole show was a grand experiment. Why not get right in on that? And it uses this. Hang on, I gotta take out that, because this is not a cheesy trick. Finger gun. Okay. No, this is a weird question, but we're gonna pick a noodle, any noodle, and I'll just pick one out from the crowd there. One noodle. Close enough. Okay, one noodle. I've been practicing things in my spare time, and I'm gonna need someone from the chat to give me their initials, 3 letters or 2 letters, initials of their name, something I would never know. And somebody else in the chat, give me a symbol, a simple geometric symbol. And I'm going to show you what I've been doing with my spare time. Some people make an art of painting on a grain of rice. I read about that once, coming from. So the first one I saw is Stephen with SRK, and I've been practicing. Oh, okay, sure, we'll use Bryn. Bow. Oh, just one. Hang on, just one. We'll pick one. I just need one. That's a lot, Jeff. That's not even. There's a J somewhere in there, but okay. Which one should we use? I saw Bryn was the first one to pop up on screen, so I'm gonna. You are now the proud owner of a monogrammed noodle. Right there. And a triangle. I see 2 people talking about or 3 people talking about a triangle. Ooh, 3 people talking about a triangle? That's a conspiracy. That's the pyramid power right there. And a triangle. There we go. So BAW. I gotta cover that up to focus. There. BAW and a triangle. You only get a moment, or else my camera stops working. And the noodle is going to go in with the rest of the noodles. All right. And we're going to shake it up. All right. And I had tape. Ow! Goodness. Tape fell on the floor. Didn't survive. So we have the noodles. We're going to use the tape, and we're going to try a little stunt. Never been done before. Going to see how this goes. Somewhere in there is a special noodle. We're going to try this. Into the box it goes. And yeah. Okay. I think I got it. Look at that. The tape wrapped. Hang on, I got a spare. The tape, look, wrapped around one noodle. Can you see that in there? It's hard to see without the light, but hang on. Let me just pop it out for you. Maybe you can see it better from that side. One noodle inside, looped inside the tape. I've never done this before. I hope this worked. One noodle coming out. Does that start to look familiar? If I focus in on that. Yeah. Focus. Come on. Camera, do your thing. Yes. BAW. and a triangle. Oh my goodness. Wait. Gotta confirm. There it is. Incredible. The incredible noodle trick. Never before seen, never before performed, except for you tonight. Amazing. That was the world premiere. The world's only, the first ever performance of that trick. Not without its wrinkles. That's the consequences that I've learned to accept of coming up with magic tricks the hour before you perform them. You gotta be quick, roll with the punches, you know. So that was something that I came up with last week, and that was in. Sorry, Steve was asking Vancouver, Washington, or Vancouver, Canada. That was Vancouver. Well, I mean, the show was all virtual, and Reuben is, I believe, around Vancouver somewhere. Vancouver, Canada, and I'm in Ottawa, Canada. But Rob and the normal gang of that show is in Vancouver. So that was a clip from last week, the performance I did there. Oh, thank you, Steve, thank you. And as I said, it was something I figured out about an hour before the show. I was literally making the prop, or the gimmick, I guess you could say, during the IBM Jam live lecture that I was producing. So I was kind of listening in one ear and making a prop. It worked out okay. But the point was, this is not something I had to go out and buy. It was something that was literally like I stumbled over it almost. It's a combination of ideas. I talk a lot about puzzle pieces and how ideas fit together to suddenly form pictures. And there's another example of puzzle pieces, because there's nothing in there that is particularly new. It's a trick that I would highly suspect has never been done before. But it's just a layering of ideas, old ideas, right? So for years I've been doing, I guess I don't need this anymore, it's just me talking. For years I've been doing the card lasso trick, right? Like, hang on. Like if we take deck cards and I'll have you say stop, which doesn't work so well with the video lag, so I'll just do it for you. Have a look at that card. I can't see it, obviously, but that goes into the deck. And then we take that and into the bag it goes, right? And then you take the rope, and this is the very quick performance of the old card lasso trick, which I learned, I'm almost ashamed to admit this, I learned this from a VHS cassette. It was taught by Tony Hassini. Tony Hassini is the guy who sells magician statues, if you've ever seen one of those. So the old card lasso trick, and you just give it a spin, and you're able to lasso one card, and hopefully that is, the chosen card. So I've been doing that trick in my act for a long time. The plastic bag thing is a new idea. I just came up with that a couple weeks ago. But normally it's just in a paper bag or a box or something. But it's an old trick, right? But that has been reborn as the noodle trick. So it's taking that idea, that already existing idea, I had that within reach. The box of noodles was sitting on my desk. I was working on something else. And it was just like in my eyesight. So I thought, okay, connecting dots. And the other thing is, and this is going to be my challenge for you this week, we have too many card tricks in Magic. And quite often we have too many card tricks in our acts as well. So this is my challenge to you. Take a card trick that you do, card trick that you enjoy performing, and figure out how to make it not a card trick. So in this case, it's the same action, the same plot of finding a card on a lasso. Same thing happens, and it's in conceptual theory the same method to do it with noodles. But now it's not a card trick. Now I can do that plus another card trick in my act, instead of having 3 or 4 or 5 card tricks in the act. So that's my creative challenge for you. Using what you have around you, take your favorite card trick and make it not a card trick. I had another idea while I was preparing for this video, thinking about this. I thought, okay, what if we take the same idea and apply it to something else? Because this is the old saying, magicians stop thinking too soon. This also goes back to in creative and artwork. They say don't necessarily go with your first idea. Create 10 concepts and just like get it out of your head. 10 ideas, because your first 3 are not going to be your best ideas. So keep on working until you get into the good stuff. Past the obvious stuff into the good stuff. So how can we reuse this again in a new way? And I thought, okay, I used to do the trick with a bag of socks where you match socks. Don't have it anymore. I sold it when I moved because it was the bulkiest prop I owned. But all these colorful socks. I thought, oh, what if this? We have a clothesline that's strung across the stage. You could have 2 kids on each side holding it across the stage, and a bag or box of socks in the middle. You put the bag on the table. You put the middle of the clothesline in. They're still holding the outside, and you have I don't have one here, but you have a clothespin clip. You know, the old wooden spring clips, clothespin. And you ask someone to name a color. They name a color. You drop the pin into the bag with the rope and all the socks. And then you have the kids pull the rope, and up comes the rope. And now clipped in the middle of the rope is the color sock they named. Same trick, same card trick, no longer a card trick. Method-wise, I'm thinking along the lines of the old walking through the rope, you know, kind of trick. Same idea. We have 2 people holding a rope and you're able to walk through the middle. I think a lot of those same ideas could be applied to clipping a chosen sock onto a rope. So not coming up with anything new, just using what's in reach, or more importantly, what I've loaded into my brain over the last 20 years. So this is why I encourage reading magic books more than anything else. Not more than anything else. Eating's good too, but in terms of magical growth, reading magic books, just collecting ideas, sponging up all these ideas in magic, because you never know. They're going to be in there in a rinse cycle, spinning around, and eventually 2 are going to come together, and that's how something new is created. So do we want to talk about the noodle box more specifically? The live performance there last week went about as terribly as it possibly could, but I think I got through it without anybody noticing just how wrong it went. So this is kind of based on old stuff, and I'm always hesitant about exposing magic on these sessions. You never know who's watching. You never know where it's going to go. But the point of the matter is, you can take a noodle with, this is a signed noodle again, which my camera doesn't really like to do this very much, this close focus thing. Anyway, signed noodle, and you take it and you drop it into the box. I should show the box. You drop it into the box, and then you mix it around. And it works the exact same way as the old card on the rope. You have a rope. You have the box or the bag or whatever it has that goes in there. It truly does go inside the bag if it doesn't get hung up on the edge. That's the tricky part. The rope has a bit of weight to it. It works a lot more smoothly. And then you can shake it around. And amazingly, the tape loops around, and end up with one spare noodle again. And now there's one noodle. I won't go through the whole tearing thing, but now there's one noodle trapped in the tape, and that's a side noodle. Works every time. And when I say works every time, I mean I was lucky to have it work just then. So what else was I going to talk about? Oh, yes. Creativity within reach. So unrelated to magic, my partner Caitlin and I had some fun last Saturday. We had kind of just a creative day, and we did a music video. but we don't have any props or anything, or we don't have a lot of stuff in the house to do a music video, but we're able to create a music video using what we did have, which was paper and pens. So we created a whole music video with all the special effects and had a lot of fun doing that. It ended up really, really great. My friend Dean Hankey has this saying that he uses. He calls it Millie Diop. And I'm going to type that in because it doesn't make sense if you don't. I'm going to just pop that up. That's what he says, Millie Diop. And that's kind of one of his mottos. And that stands for make it look like you did it on purpose. Make it look like you did it on purpose. And so in this time when we're constrained with what we have on hand, doesn't matter. No one knows what it's supposed to look like. So if you want to do a music video that is 100% paper stick puppets, that's what it was supposed to be. Make it look like you did it on purpose. If you have one stick puppet in amongst a bunch of felt puppets, then it looks weird. So if you just commit to the idea, make it look like you did it on purpose. Oh, and speaking of popping things up, if you want to check out the rest of that show that I appeared in, the whole show was a cast of characters from Vancouver and area and across Canada. And it is on Facebook, The Parlor Magic Show. That is the Canadian spelling of parlor with the U, The Parlor Magic Show. And you can check that out. And Rob is, I think, going to be hosting another one next month, which is awesome. So check that out. I don't know if I have any other thoughts on this other than I gave you my challenge to create a card trick that's no longer a card trick. I'd love to hear what happens with that, what card trick you start with and where it ends up in the process from A to B. And the moral of my story today is you already have everything you need. So I don't need to tell you anything else. Thanks for watching. I'm Ryan, and I will see you next Tuesday here on Tips and Tricks for Magicians. Have a good afternoon.